Ashe, greetings, grand rising, a grand day, a good day, a happy day, a bright and sunshiny day. And peace and goodwill to you all once again, my fellow natural native earthly humans, the world over. And thanks again for stopping by. Thanks for taking the time out of your time to listen to yours truly. And of course, you don't know that this is yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher. And welcome to part 35, the continuation of my series of talks titled Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, the land of people of integrity, can it be set free? Now, if you haven't yet watched or listened to part 1 through to part 34, and hopefully in that consecutive order, I ask that you please do so before going forward with this number 35. Or that you please do so at your earliest convenience. I can almost assure you that by you doing so, you may learn something new, which from my perspective, learning something new is what this thing we call life is all about. For you may be, by listening to in that order, you may also be reminded about something or reminded of something, or at the very least, you may get something to think about. Something to ponder, something to talk about, something to disagree with, or at the worst, something to provoke you to see things outside the box, to see things a little differently. And please note that I did not say that by listening to yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher, that you will learn something, but that you may learn something. The operative word is always may learn something. There's no guarantee that you learn anything. The truth be told, these talks, these presentations are definitely not for everyone, and I'm well aware of the possibility, if not the fact, that some of you, my listeners, might be offended by the truth, or more correctly, by the facts or the perspectives that are enveloped therein. But as the late Robert Nesta Marley said in one of his most famous songs called Jaliv, and I quote, "The truth is an offense, but not a sin," unquote. And as the late Dale Carnegie said, and again I quote, "Those convinced against their will is of the same opinion still," unquote. And for the record, yours truly, I, the Mystic B, I'm not a con, and neither am I trying to con anyone. I'm not trying to convert, to convince, to confound, to confuse, or con. You name it or you name them. I'm not trying to con you or anyone. I'm just sharing another perspective or another perspective on a lot of things. From yours truly, I, the Mystic P, angle of observation. And in this series, I am sharing what I perceive and think I know that I know, must be done in order for our motherland, I'll keep you land, aka Africa, Mother Africa, and by extension, all her children, home and abroad, to be free. And please note, not to gain freedom. I explained what that is and what that means, and in actuality and everything in previous presentation. For those of you that have listened, for those of you that have been listening to some, if not to all, of my previous episodes, you will already know that my answer to these two questions, number one, can Africa be set free? Number two, can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? Is a resounding yes, yes, and of course more yeses. And I have no doubt about such a possibility. However, the purpose of this series is to show you from I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, and I, spiritual and intellectual insights, how and when Africa, Burkina Faso, and by extension, we all African people, home and abroad, can and will be set free from the tyranny of the soulless creatures, their imperialism and their colonialism. It was the late Maya Angelou who once said, and I quote, "The truth is, no one of us can be free until everybody is free," unquote. And with that fact, we both know that none of us Africans, nations or individual, can be free until all of us are indeed free. So we better work together to gain the freedom for each and every one of us. Now, in my last episode, or in part 35, I promised that I will use a story from the imperialists and colonizers book, aka the Adamic Race History and Holy Book, commonly known as the Christian Holy Bible, as an allegory, and show and prove to you that Bill Gates and his money will only bring a curse to our people and our motherland, Africa. I promise to do that. And the title of this story that I'll use as an allegory is Naaman healed of leprosy. Or let me say it correctly. Naaman healed of leprosy. And it is taken from the book 2 Kings chapter 5. So let me read it verbatim and then offer my comments and perspectives as I promise to use it and show you why. Now, and I quote, "Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him Yahweh had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and had taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, 'If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy.' Naaman went to his master and told him what the girl from Israel had said. 'By all means go,' the king of Aram replied. 'I will send a letter to the king of Israel.' So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothes. The letter that he had took to the king of Israel read, 'With this letter I am sending my servant Naaman to you so that you may cure him of his leprosy.' As soon as the king of Israel read this letter, he tore his robes and said, 'Am I God? Am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of his leprosy? See how he is trying to pick a quarrel with me?' When Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message, 'Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel.' So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, 'Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed.' But Naaman went away angry and said, 'I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of Yahweh his God, wave his hand over the spot and cure me of my leprosy. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?' So he turned and went off in a rage. Naaman's servant went to him and said, 'My father, if the prophet had told you to do something great, or to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then, when he tells you, wash and be cleansed?' So he went down and dipped himself into the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him. and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Then Naaman and his attendants went back to the man of God. He stood before him and said, "Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So please accept a gift from your servant." The prophet answered, "As surely as Yahweh lives, whom I serve, I will not accept a thing." And even though Naaman urged him, he refused. "If you will not," said Naaman, "please let me, your servant, be given as much earth as a pair of mules can carry. For your servant will never again make burnt offerings and sacrifices to any other god but to Yahweh. But may Yahweh forgive your servant for this one thing. When my master enters the temple of Rimmon to bow down, and he is leaning on my arm, and I have to bow there also, when I bow down in the temple of Rimmon, may Yahweh forgive your servant for this." "Go in peace," Elijah said, after Naaman had traveled some distance. No, rather, "Go in peace," Elijah said. Now, after Naaman had traveled some distance, Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said to himself, "My master was too easy on Naaman, this Aramean, by not accepting from him what he brought. And surely as Yahweh lives, I will run after him and get some from him." So Gehazi hurried after Naaman. When Naaman saw him running towards him, he got down from the chariot to meet him. Is everything all right?" he asked. "Everything is all right," Gehazi answered. My master sent me to say, 2 men from the company of the prophets have just come to me from the hill country of Ephraim. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 sets of clothing. By all means, take 2 talents, said Naaman. He urged Gehazi to accept them, and then tied up 2 talents of silver and 2 bags with 2 sets of clothing. He gave them to 2 of his servants, and they carried them ahead of Gehazi. When Gehazi came to the hill, he took the things from the servants and put them away in the house. He sent the men away, and they left. Now, when he went in and stood before his master, Elisha asked him, "Where have you been?" Gehazi, "Your servant didn't go anywhere," Gehazi answered. Lie again. But Elisha said to him, "Was not my spirit with you when the man got down from his chariot to meet you? Is this the time to take money, to accept clothes, or olive groves and vineyards, or flocks and herds, or male and female slaves? Naaman's leprosy will cling to you and to your descendants forever." Then Gehazi went from Elijah's presence, and his skin was leprous. It had become as white as snow. Unquote. Now, here's truly the Mystic Philosopher's interpretation of this. From my perspective, Naaman had a curse, aka an evil spell cast on him in the form of leprosy, and even though he was both famous, highly respected, rich and powerful, his life was a living hell. Exactly how it was cast on him, or who may have cast it on him, and why it was cast on him, we may not be able to know from the information given here. We can only speculate. For example, It could have been a curse that was placed or cast on his family, aka a family curse, even before he was born. And he inherited it. It could have been someone innocent that he might have offended. Someone innocent he might have hurt or may have even unalived, robbed, cheated out of something, someone he might have even done injustice to. And they cast the spell, the evil spell of leprosy on him. It could also be due to the fact that he was associated with practitioners of evil, why he too was cursed. But regardless of how he got it, one cannot deny the fact that he had the curse of leprosy placed on him and that it was driving him mentally insane. In other words, he was not a free or a happy man. From my perspective, Bill Gates, the multi-billionaire, among other of his fame and distinctions, can be equated with Naaman, the rich and powerful army commander or rich and powerful army general. And like Naaman, he too is under a curse, if not under many curses. Curses that can be equated to Naaman's leprosy plus more. Maybe his curse or curses could be a family curse or curses that was placed on his parents or on his ancestors, his bloodline, that he has inherited. Or maybe it or they are the results of people that he might have consciously or unconsciously offended, or consciously or unconsciously hurt. Or maybe it is a curse of our source and Mother Nature as a result of his chronic greed and the curse of want, discontent, and him wanting to own all the world's most, or all the world's best farm and agricultural lands. His demonic promotion, maybe the curse was placed on him because of his demonic promotion of genetically modified foods and the promotion of people eating insects, etc. Or maybe it is the result of his sins, his own sins that he might have committed, sins that he might have committed against himself or against humanity, or as a result of people the world over passionately despised him and are speaking evil of him and are cursing him out. You name it or you name them. But from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective and metaphysical insights, the evidence is showing that he is under a curse and many curses. He's been burdened by a curse or some curses. And as a result, he is not at peace with himself. For those of us, or for those who have eyes to see, will affirm that he is not at peace, and nor can he be. He cannot even radiate a genuine human smile. He can only grin. He is one of the most unhappy humankind on the planet. The curse or the curses are a heavy load on him, and they are becoming unbearable for him to live with. And so he's planning to atone for his sins by giving away 90% of his billions supposedly to Africa. Don't take it. However, for the greedy African political and other greedy leaders that are planning to receive it, they are completely blind to the fact that it comes with the burden, aka with the curses, and that it will be unleashed on them and their families down to many generations and potentially to the entire African continent. Just like how Naaman's curse of leprosy was unleashed on Gehazi, please help me pronounce that word, the servant of Elisha, after he took the money, the 2 talents of silver and the 2 bags, along with 2 sets of clothing. Quote, but Elisha said to him, was not my spirit with you when the man got down from the chariot to meet you? Is this the time to take money or to accept clothes or olives, groves and vineyards or flocks of herds or male and female slaves? And listen how they pronounce on him now. Nathan's leprosy will cling to you and to you and your descendants forever. Then Gehazi went from Elijah's presence, and his skin was leprous, it had become as white as snow. Unquote. What these fools that are planning to take, greedy people planning to take this money, what these fools don't know is that once a spell, listen carefully now, once a spell is dispelled or a curse is removed or cast off, it has to find another host in order for it to dwell. Now please note how Naaman pleaded with the healer Elisha to please accept his gift offerings. But he, Elisha, no more than anyone else, he knows what would be the consequences if he had received it. And again I quote, as surely, Elijah said to him, as surely as Yahweh lives, whom I serve, I will not accept a thing. And even though Naaman urged him, he refused. Unquote. There are two main points that I would like to share with you and have you take away from all this. Point number one. Here is proof that to whom it may concern, that all those religious people who are claiming to be prophets and men or women of God, etc., that are accepting money or gifts in kind for healing and for so-called doing God's work are frauds and should be shunned unless you and them belong to the same religion and serve the same religious God. Point number two. The prophet Elijah know that he knows that when an evil spell, aka a curse, is removed from a victim or from victims, its host, when it is removed from its host, it must immediately find a new host or a new victim to enter, a new host or a new victim to possess, or a new host or a new victim to be induced to reside, to take control of, or at the very least a temporary host or temporary victim to latch onto until a more permanent and living host is discovered. Now, I run out of time, and I think that most of you, my listeners, have gotten the reasoning, if not the message, why all African leaders of integrity should and must promptly reject Bill Gates and his money. Run him with the money. Let the fool and his money perish. So I ask that you please join me in part 36 for the continuation of Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? And please stay tuned, for I will have much more to talk to you about colonization of the mind, aka mental colonization, in an upcoming series. In the meantime and between time, here's willing that you be more and more and much more, and definitely not be less. Let no one be less you, but in your becoming become more and more and much more. For I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. I and I say. Have yourself a great day, and if you feel good, share it.